I told you guys BL3 wasn't going anywhere. How's it going, guys? And welcome back to BL3's Forgotten, the series where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered within the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we are taking a look at the Unforgiven. If you'd like to farm the Unforgiven for yourself, you're going to want to fast travel over to the Voracious Canopy over on Eden 6, before immediately turning around and heading back out to Floodmore Basin. Carrying on forward, you'll hit the save station that will be resetting from, along with a catch a ride where you can grab a vehicle and go just around these routes, where Indo Tyrant will jump down from a ledge. Kill him and you can get yourself the Unforgiven. The Unforgiven is a legendary Jakobs pistol, unable to roll in any elements, and having the very simple unique effect of just having incredibly high crit damage, rolling up to 432%. It also has a really cool, unique reload animation. The Unforgiven isn't entirely forgotten, as it is known as a bit of a niche utility gun, since you can either use it to crit swap, where you swap to the Unforgiven after firing a gun with a slower moving, high damage projectile to then transfer the crit damage to that projectile, or you can do something similar and just hold it in your hands to buff the crit damage of other things that are able to crit, like Zane's Mantis Cannon or while Moses in Iron Bear. The Unforgiven as a weapon, though, is a really weird one. It's not a good gun. Not on its own, at least. What the Unforgiven offers, obviously, is stats. A stat, really, being of course that huge crit damage, which is incredibly valuable. I mean, 432% crit damage on card is absolutely nothing to scoff at. The rest of the stats, though, scoff all you'd like. Jesus fucking Christ, don't actually, I'm talking, that's rude. But the way that you use the Unforgiven most effectively is to just simply buff its stats yourself. Give it what it's lacking, and in return, you get pretty damn hard-hitting crits. For reference, here's what it looks like when you aren't building for it properly. It kills things, but slowly, painfully, pathetically. The gun itself is mid at best, but it's a pretty damn solid platform to build from. It's like the Jakobs weapon. If there was a John Jakobs, the Unforgiven is him. The Unforgiven is that guy, that fucking dude. I'm hyping this thing up pretty heavily. I like the Unforgiven, but honestly, even at its best, it's outperformed performance-wise. Style-wise, though, super sick-ass headshots-wise, though, rootin' tootin' this town ain't big enough for the two of us-wise, though, undefeated. This is the gun that you inherit from your grandfather, who inherited from his grandfather, whose grandfather was a raging racist that probably forged the thing with his own hands. This is the heirloom you start and finish your adventure with. Delivers the final blow in the last stand type shit. It is simply swagged the fuck out, brother. The Unforgiven is just absolutely leaking style from its really simple but cool-ass weapon skin, the dope-as-fuck reload, and just the fact that it is a true cowboy hand cannon. And while it certainly isn't the best hand cannon in BL3, I gotta say, as much as I love the Moonfire, the Unforgiven still just tickles something different for me. But enough glazing, the Unforgiven does of course have a pretty major downside to it, being that its entire damage is reliant on hitting a critical hit. This means that if you are suffering from a terminal skill issue or are fighting enemies that have very obnoxious crit spots, the Unforgiven is going to be pretty frustrating. A great example of this is Guardian Takedown. While surprisingly enough, it's not terrible on true Guardian Takedown, despite the damage potential definitely taking a bit of a hit here, the biggest issue on true Guardian Takedown is genuinely just that reliance on being able to be accurate. It's incredibly difficult to hit the crit spots on Necrobugs and Guardians without any form of CC. Not only are their crits kinda just small for the most part, but they wiggle around very unnaturally and very, very often. So while you can definitely deal some damage when hitting crits, good fucking luck actually doing that consistently. If you're gonna be trying to run Guardian Takedown with the Unforgiven, then I highly recommend both a Frozen Heart and Albendazole. Overall though, the Unforgiven is far from being the best gun ever. It's honestly debatable if it can even really be called a good gun, but it is a damn cool gun with a hell of a lot of sauce. I appreciate the way that this thing exemplifies Jakobs. It feels like the most Jakobs thing ever, and it benefits you the more that you invest into Jakobs weaponry. This thing is fun as hell to pop heads with if you actually have a setup for it, and that is the exact reason that I keep an Unforgiven in the back pocket of every single Jakobs build that I ever run. But that's about to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all that. Down in the description will be a link to my Twitch channel where you can follow to be notified of when I go live, and just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.